Plant-based diet, like somebody may be a vegan, somebody may be a vegetarian. In fact, there's a pescatarian, there's flexitarian, and there's also a Mediterranean kind of diet, all of which fall under plant-based diet. These are variations of what we know typically as a vegan or a vegetarian diet, right? The flexitarian is a person who eats, mostly plant-based, but as the name says, flexible. They are able to do once a week. They do animal products like meat once a week, but apart from that one time, all the time they are doing plant-based. The Mediterranean also focuses a lot more on the nuts and the seeds, the olive oil, and a few other times they can add like milk and cheese, right? And occasionally they also do meat. So it's mostly plants. And then the vegetarian, let me talk about the pescatarian. The pescatarian is one who also does vegetarian. I mean, they do more of the plant, but they fall on an animal source from fish. So they will eat plants and fish, which I really think it's one that is good. I think I like that one. But personally, you eat plants, but you're able to cheat with fish instead of eating red meat and all those other animal sources. You can eat fish. So it's plants and then fish. And then the vegetarian, they eat plants mostly, but then they are allowed to add eggs, for protein sources, and then even milk or cheese also for protein sources. That's the vegetarian. But when we come to a vegan, that one is a strictly plant. They have no source of animal product in their diet. But now let's talk about the benefits of the plant-based diet for your blood sugar levels. The first thing is the benefit of fibers. Fiber, plants are basically fiber. Fiber maximum on top. If you are eating the plant-based diet, you are most likely going for a lot of fiber. And especially if you are eating non-processed plant-based sources. Some people, they do processed plants, so the fiber may have been taken out. But if it's not processed, a lot of your intake will be fiber. And what is the benefit of fiber on your blood sugar, on your weight, and on all those good things? Benefit of fiber, the first one is that fiber helps with insulin sensitivity. Insulin sensitivity, if you are eating plant sources, you are also making sure that your insulin is very sensitive, just like on a low carb diet, right? Because soluble fiber, example like oatmeal, those, they form a gel-like substance in your gut, and then they show they slow your digestion of carbohydrates. So when you eat plant sources like oatmeal, beans, and all those good stuff, what you're doing, because of the amount of fiber, you don't absorb all the glucose in your food as much. As a matter of fact, there are tips out there now that for you to lower your your post-meal blood sugar levels, whenever you eat, make sure you eat with some kind of a fiber, especially like a salad. Even if you are not a plant-based diet person, if you want to take care of your blood sugar levels, whatever you eat, either precede it with plant sources or some other kind of fiber so that you don't absorb all the sugar. For example, let me give you a trick. Maybe you are on a birthday party, everybody's eating, and you are served a cake. Everybody is eating. You can see that the cake is so good. I mean, you say you won't eat no sugars, but this one time you want to cheat. If you have to cheat, you could start off with a salad, a small bowl of salad. Then on top of it, you eat your cake. Because of the salad, which is rich in fiber from plant sources, you're not going to absorb all the sugar from the cake. So that's the trick right there, right? So plants are known to do that. And those who are following plant-based diet, like a vegetarian or vegan or pescatarian, Mediterranean, or even flexitarian diets, they are also cheating nature by not absorbing all the glucose. And so their blood sugar levels get lower. The other thing is that the plant-based sources, they also have insoluble fiber. We have the soluble fiber, which I mentioned, and then we have the insoluble fiber, the soluble fibers with the oatmeals and apples and all those things that I mentioned, right? Now, the insoluble fiber examples include the leafy greens themselves. That would be like a salad, right? And then also whole grains. If you eat those, you also promote beneficial bacterial growth. Some people actually have been told to take over-the-counter supplements of probiotics just to become regular so that they can go to the bathroom, or to avoid bloating or some kind of other GI or gastrointestinal issues, right? Just because of those things, they say, hey, get some OTC or over-the-counter probiotic. Now, if you are eating from plant sources, naturally you are promoting the growth of these good bacteria. And so you may not even need to supplement. And what they do is that they help in several ways to make sure that your insulin becomes sensitive. Now, I don't want to go into the science about that, but except to say that in a 2022 trial, diabetes care found that 35 grams of fiber, daily improved insulin sensitivity by 24% in a 12-week period. So people who were doing these fibers, they increased their insulin sensitivity by 24%. This is not medicine. This is just eating the right kinds of foods, especially from plant sources, right? So that is another point from the plant-based diet. That's the first point, as a matter of fact. The second point is that plant-based diets are also rich in antioxidants. And most diseases that we face these days are of, oxidative, sources. Well, I should say they all come from oxidative stress, right? Most of the diseases, diabetes, cholesterol, even cholesterol, high cholesterol levels, heart diseases, ulcers, and all those other problems that you hear about. Most of them are because of oxidative stress. And what better way to avoid those oxidative stress by eating from plant sources? Because plants are full of antioxidants. If you are eating veggies, if you are eating bell peppers, you are eating apples, you are getting vitamin C. If you are eating oranges, you are getting vitamin C. And all those they have polyphenols, which basically neutralize free radicals, which are the disease-causing agents. Some of which even lead to cancers and stuff. But if your diet is rich in these sources, then you are going to be chewing them up in your blood without having to do much. The plant sources of diet are going to do that. Now, in diabetes, and also obviously in high cholesterol levels, all these are traced into oxidation. So the more plant sources you eat, the more polyphenols you get, and the more the antioxidants work for you, such that you are not going to have these problems. And if you already have diabetes, you don't get into complications as much if you are eating these plant sources, because of the polyphenols and the antioxidants that come from them, which work and fight for you and protect your body against all those other things. They improve cell function, and they protect even the beta cells that produce your insulin. So somebody who has been diagnosed as diabetic, who is concerned about their future, if you begin to include plant-based sources, you're going to protect your beta cells, which is in your pancreas, right, from getting more damage if you are including these foods into your diet, so that you don't end up with complications from diabetes, or you prolong your life, because you are not just dumping processed foods and getting your pancreas even worse, right? And so that is another thing that plant-based foods do. Now let's go to the third one. So the polyphenols we talked about, there's another thing they do. If you are eating from plant sources, you are also helping your body to metabolize all your glucose that you eat. So not only are you eating healthier and getting protection from these free radicals, you are also helping your body to process the little glucose that you eat on board, making it easier for you to prevent diabetes complications from happening. There are certain things that we don't want to go into the details, but except to say that these polyphenols, what they do scientifically is they activate a protein called AMP. So we call it AMP activated protein kinase, which is basically an enzyme, which help the uptake of glucose and also help in fat burning. What else is better than that? Just by eating regular meal, but except that it is more of plant sources, you are getting all these benefits for free. So that is another thing. And then the other thing they also do, plant-based foods do, is that they improve insulin signaling. They enhance the ability of cells to respond to insulin. That is why they make you're insulin more sensitive if you are eating. But there are more studies. There was a study in American Journal of Clinical Nutrition which showed this, but I don't have time to go through that. About 10 to 15% of people doing better with their glucose level just because they stuck, to plant-based diet. And so we can beat that. Now, the other thing is that just like the low-carb diet, plant-based sources also help with your weight management, because obviously most of the plants that we eat have low carbs. If you are eating broccoli, if you are eating spinach, if you are eating berries, if you are eating avocados, the sources of energy there are less compared to your starchy foods. And so it makes sense that you're not going to gain a lot of weight on those. So they help with your weight and then also help with insulin sensitivity, as we have alluded to. So that is something that we can really bank on. The other thing is, if you're eating because of the sources of fiber, you don't get hungry as much. So if you're somebody, you say that, as for me, every time I feel like eating, just try plant-based diet. The fiber in them will make you full, especially when you drink water after that. They swell up. It's just a matter of just having them on board, and you don't get hungry. I mean, you may have the appetite, but as long as you are able to control your appetite, which is another thing, you are not going to be hungry, because some people may not be hungry and yet they still want to eat, right? Come on, man. that is something different. But if it is not that, if it's not about appetite control, and even that I showed you, if you are eating less carbohydrates, you are probably also going to have a hand over your appetite. So you definitely will not be hungry for the long haul if you are eating a lot of plant-based diet, plant sources. And they do the same thing as we also talked about as far as the glycemic load is concerned. You are not eating a lot of starchy foods, and the foods you eat are from whole plants, especially if they are not processed. If you're eating something like from legumes, some non-starchy vegetables, it can be any vegetable. It has to be non-starchy vegetables. If you are doing those, then obviously it's not going to be something that you should have a problem with. I may also link the last videos at the end of these videos so you can watch them. But you can always go back and see the details of all these things.